and had a greater impact. So our goal has been to build the next generation of AI practices. And so this means that we need to put the old model of advisory practice, the McKinseys, the BCGs, the Gardners, et cetera, out of business. We have to put that model out of business. And so part of that is creating a data layer that builds a product that can eventually replace that model. And so you might have seen this news from, this is in, I guess, June or May, whatever. Y Combinator posted this stuff where they said they want full stack AI companies. And so you can see the headline on the bottom right. It said, if you build a great AI accountant, why sell it to legacy accountants? So most people come at AI from a SaaS perspective, saying, hey, we're going to build a tool, and then we're going to license this tool to all these people, and then they're going to use it, and they'll be more efficient. But the thing is that if you have limitless scale, not margin, which is totally different with AI, side note, but if you have huge, breathtaking amounts of scale with AI, then the idea is, well, then just do it and compete head-to-head with your superior model. And so that's functionally what we're trying to do at acquisition.com and is a core product that we're consistently building out. And so we'll cover 4 things as it comes to building the product. So number 1 is the most valuable thing for a business, like how I was thinking about how can I make this offer so compelling? Number 2, what made it very hard? Number 3, how we built the AI to translate that information into knowledge. And then 4, how to transform knowledge into outcomes. And I see this as relevant and important since probably, I said, can we do a poll? Luke the Duke? Okay. Can I get a poll that says, I am interested in, let's say, AI interested, AI disinterested. Just do those 2 as the options. I'm curious for you guys if you see that you're AI interested in terms of enhancing it in your business versus not, because I think it should be, but I don't want to skew the results. But I think this is important for a lot of you guys because it'd be like, hey, the internet's coming out, we should talk about it. Oh, Jesus. Okay, yeah. So we have some AI interested. Fantastic. All right, so let's talk about the first thing, how to make this more valuable for business. So when we were building the offer in total, and then obviously subsequently the AI, we asked ourselves, like, what is the single most valuable thing that you can give a business, right? Besides literally giving someone money, the most valuable thing a business can have is what I would consider the best next step, right? And so here's why. And so because at its most basic level, the difference between where you are and wherever you want to be is the value of the best next step. And so here's just fun mental math for everybody. So describe to yourself, you don't need to put it in the chat, but describe an achievable goal or achievable outcome that you think you can do 12 months from now. So it is October of 25. So let's think October of 26. Think about a goal that you think you can achieve 12 months from now, right? Just one thing. If this one thing happened, it would materially change the business. And you believe you could do it. Achievable, not like, you create the next Microsoft. Probably not going to happen, right? Achievable goal, 12 months. So then the follow-up question is, imagine that in your mind, all right? If only that one thing were true, how much would it add to your business? Think about this for a second. Again, we're talking about how do you create the most valuable offer of all time. What would it add to the business? So the idea is then, once we have this value that you have in your head, whatever that number is, the value of the steps to get there, the best next step, is proportional to the value of that thing. If that big outcome is really big, the value of those steps or that best next step is significantly higher. And so it's the same reason that if you went back in time to help yourself out, you could probably do it in about a third the time. And here's my proof, because you probably know what steps to skip and which ones mattered most, right? So here's the real world scenario. Who here, can I just get a hand in the chat, one of these guys? Who here is on their second business and beyond? Can I see the results of the AI one, by the way? I can't see the actual score. Hand if you're on your second business and beyond. Oh, geez. Okay, almost all of you guys are interested in AI. That's actually crazy high. I didn't expect it to be that high. Okay, so we have hands. Okay, many of you are on your second business or more. Watch this. This is going to be wild, okay? Now, who here, while you have your hands raised, who's on their second business, did grow this second business faster than your first one? So you're on your second. Who here grew their second faster than their first? Right? Of course. And the reason is because you already knew what to do. It's why when you play a video game you can beat it at 1/10 the time, right? You already know where all the trapdoors are, the weapons are, the upgrades and the boosters are hidden. And you don't waste time on anything that doesn't move you forward, which makes knowing the best next step or what to do next one of the most valuable business assets a business can have. Again, we're thinking, how can we build the most valuable offer possible? And so what happens is when you have that, it turns your growth into a predictable process like playing a video game. To be clear, not easy, playing video games aren't, but predictable. And now if that's true, and it is so valuable, then why is it so rare and why do so few people know about it, right? Why do so few people stay stuck? Why do so few people not know what the best next step is? And so I said we cover 4 things. The first is the framework for thinking, how do I make the most valuable offer of all time, right? The second is, okay, if that valuable next step of knowing exactly what to do to bridge the gap is that value, then what makes it so hard to deliver to so many people at scale? The answer is, it's hard, and it's hard for one reason: context. You need tremendous context on the business, tremendous context on the entrepreneur, and tremendous context on the environment and/or the conditions. And so think about it like this. Think about like a jockey, a horse, and the other horses in the race. If you're to give advice, it's going to depend on all three of those variables, right? Or differently, the type of car, the type of driver, the weather conditions, or it's an endurance race or a sprint race. All those things matter on what the best next step is to optimize for the goal, right? And so the best next step for the jockey or the driver or the entrepreneur takes context into account to come up or to figure out the best way to win the race or achieve the goal, and then reverses it into the step they need to take now, which is the best next step. And to give context to how the AI works, the product, at a deeper level, since you guys are, it's crazy that 98% of you are, let me see if I got this. Okay, yes. So this is a short segment I did with Amjad, the founder of Replit, which is a $3 billion AI company as of right now, around how AI actually learns. So I think it's like 3 minutes. I go really in depth on it, and I think you will just enjoy it. So roll. Let's see if this works.
Let's get into AI a little bit. Not many people remember, but you were one of the first people to key in on ChatGPT as a tool for business.
Yeah.
And I remember some of your early videos.
It was like almost three years ago. Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, it was like a couple of weeks after ChatGPT was launched, right? Was it November 22 or something
December,
like that? December 22. I always watch your world and I watch Silicon Valley world and I see like what is hopping over.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is going to be huge. What sparked the interest for ChatGPT? What vision did it create for you?
What I really enjoy a lot is studying learning and behavior. And you can hear it through all my definitions and my business books. Like that's the through line that marries everything. Artificial intelligence learns almost exactly the same way that humans do through reinforcement training. And so you do a thing and you get an outcome, yay or nay. And I believe at the most foundational level, when you ask the question, like, why are you so driven, or why are founders so driven? We've gone through some reinforcement training, which we may have been aware or not aware of, that reinforce this set of behaviors that when, stacked together, so you see a skill as a behavior chain of multiple adaptive skills that are put in sequence to create an outcome that's maybe, ideal, or that adaptive chain becomes a more complex set of behaviors, that becomes a skill. AI basically learns the same way humans do. And so if it learns the same way humans do, then it will be able to do what humans do.
Okay, yeah.
So everyone who feels like, AI is not as smart as humans, it's like, well, because we've had a learning advantage.
Yes.
Because we take 10,000 inputs a day or whatever the number is.
100%.
If we take all of our senses times, hours and whatever we can take in, as soon as we have robo babies, and I say that not in a weird way, but like where it can experiment and touch and taste and do all that stuff in the world, I think the reinforcement loops will happen so quickly. And the other part of it that will happen is that it doesn't forget. And I think that's the crazy part. So we've obviously trained AI for different functions within our business and business use cases. And one thing that was astonishing to me is that we were trying to train an SDR, so a sales development rep who would, do outreach or do follow-up. And what was really interesting to me was that it would make a mistake, and I would, we'd be like, hey, do this next time. And every time it would do that. And I was like, man, I've trained a lot of salespeople, like scary in a cool way of just how quick it can learn. And it just doesn't make a mistake after that. Obviously there's hallucinations, but in terms of following the directions, it would follow. It's funny because there's a lot of like really cute isms in Silicon Valley, like, being a master is something that like some skills cannot be taught and only learned. Like there are these very cute like rhetorical devices, but they're just not, they make no sense.
Yeah.
like if you learned it, you learned it, which means someone could teach it. It's just not structured.
Right.
And we didn't know how we taught it because there's multiple factors. But like if you control the conditions, you can control the outcome. At least that's my viewpoint of the world. It just means that there's more complex environments in order to learn. I think I've just taken a lot of interest in that because, the obvious of like ChatGPT enters Optimus or, Grok enters Optimus in the real world. It's like, oh, okay, well, it can interact with all the tools that we've already made around the world to interact with as humans and then never make a mistake after that. And then that just gets into lots of questions around existence and all that kind of stuff, which
I think you're spot on, perhaps more than you know. Even a lot of AI engineers would not understand what you just said, and even some AI researchers.
So with that, I wanted to obviously show that clip because it shows a little bit more context in terms of how AI is trained and how it actually works. And so given this, who here has either heard or said they want to build an AI-enabled, AI-enhanced, AI-first, or AI-assisted business, right? I saw a bunch of you guys already raise your hands. I'm going to assume plenty of you guys have. And so keep your hands hypothetically raised at least in your head. Who here would then say that you have a clear data layer on top of your business that collects inputs and outputs? Right. So most of you, it's I don't think many of you are yeses on this one. In terms of how would I collect clear data that's structured so that I can train an agent in a way that could repeat what I'm doing. And so in service of that, we started putting in tremendous volumes of work towards capturing that context. So remember I said like there's something that makes it difficult to give this most valuable thing, which is the lack of context on the entrepreneur, on the environment, and on the business, right? And so 2 years to date, creating data sets with clear inputs and outputs for the specific segment of people that we serve at acquisition, which is small business owners, ranging from $500,000 to $50 million a year. We wanted context around the entrepreneur, around the business, and again around the landscape, the conditions, social media, ads, outreach, the economy at the time, and context around the operational constraints for the entrepreneurs with a single desired outcome, to give actionable advice that maximizes the likelihood of the business owner achieving their goal. This was the idea behind the offer. If we could simply translate that the thing that you want has certain steps to take, you having those steps, the correct steps and the correct sequence for your specific context would be the most valuable thing you could give. And so for real world relevance, to allow whatever weird mix of pattern recognition that I've had from helping a lot of businesses to be translated into something that could actually help all businesses. Not as well as me, and this is the key point, but better. Because it remembers every tactic, every on-the-fly solution, every insight to come up with the maximally efficient, best next step. And so, for example, if I were to consult with a home service business or whatever your business is, right, the first thing I'm going to do is look at other home service businesses that I've worked with, and I'd look at the problems that came up with when I was talking to them. And then I would look at the solutions that I presented for each of those businesses, and I would see if there are similarities, and there usually are. And then I'm going to probably start there as a baseline. And so AI does this perfectly every time, and it can keep it all in its head, readily available on demand. And so how could we make sure it actually worked? In other words, how do we know that it could translate data sets into outcomes, right? That's a big leap. And so I said we'd cover 4 things. I said, what, the most valuable thing is for a business, the best next step. What makes it hard is that it lacks context. The third thing is, okay, if you give that data, how do you translate that thing into usable knowledge? So there's 2 elements to knowing that something translates data into knowledge, right? Metrics and use cases, so real world. All right, so this is since the launch. This is the AI usage metrics. All right, so you can see active messages per user per day. All right, so first, this shows, honestly, it's better than I expected, but we obviously had a surge at the beginning, right? So this is the product. This is the thing that we built. So we had a big surge, obviously, at the launch. You can see the dates at the bottom. But then you see something that's very, very valuable, which is a flat curve, meaning that the number of people who are using it in messages per day stays flat, which means that people just consistently keep using it. Now, probably a very small percentage of you guys are in the SaaS world, but if you see a flat line like this, most of you guys know what that means, which is you have user retention. You have stickiness. That is a valuable product. Very exciting. And so, like I said, most people can't really interpret this, but the only reason people use something adjacent to their business on a regular basis is because it provides regular value. And if it provides regular value, then it's a good proxy for it translating in the data into usable knowledge. People aren't just going through it to not use it. And so the first element is the metrics, for usage being probably the biggest one. Like if people consume it, they will like it, right? Or they consume it because they like it. There we go. And so let me show you some of the real use cases that we had to train for to put together to actually make this work for everybody. And so the use case is if it's sticky, but only for one cohort. So we could have that flat line, but if only for a very small segment, that's good, but not great. Because the narrower the use case that is sticky, the fewer people who can ultimately use it. And so what are people actually using the AI for? Again, this is data post-launch that I didn't have prior. Can it do more than one task? So the answer is these are the common uses that people are currently doing on the AI. And so I asked the AI to summarize the use cases it's used for most frequently. So I actually asked our AI to do this. And so it said generating tactical marketing and sales assets. So for example, build me a setter script using the best tactics Alex saves for paying clients, right? Or designing and pressure testing core offers. So for example, what pricing tier should I have for consumers who buy dog products? Or how can I make my offer into a Grand Slam offer? Optimizing and automating sales funnels. So break down my sales process, find holes, give me a step-by-step breakdown on how to improve my conversion rates. And these should make sense given 70% of businesses consider themselves demand constrained, as in they could handle more business. So the next step is typically, the best next step, is typically something related to them getting more business. That would make sense. But then I asked the AI to pull actual conversations and jobs that it's already done. So of course I whitewashed these because these are like some of y'all's answers. And so these are the actual insights that it created. This was generated from all of the things that you guys have used it for. So the first use case was on-demand asset generator. So the jobs to be done was instantly producing execution-ready marketing and sales collateral, removing the bottleneck of what to say, and replacing the need for slow and expensive creating. This is the actual AI's language right now. So this was observed in B2B, healthcare, SaaS, legal, local, mental health clinics, remodeling, e-commerce, coaching, and consulting. So the examples from the data. A B2B corporate wellness firm generated a full cold call script, objection handling guide, voicemail, and SMS follow-up. A mental health clinic created SMS and voicemail scripts to increase callback rates for warm ad leads. An investment research newsletter drafted a customer survey to collect quantified testimonials for marketing. A B2B agency for pharma brands created a high-stakes proposal email for a major client campaign. So that's the first kind of use case that people are using it for. And the reason, again, that I'm thinking about this is like, how do we build this? It's like you have to build something that's incredibly valuable, and it can't just be incredibly valuable for one slice. Now, to be clear, if you're in a niche, then yes, by all means do that. But if you have to cater to everybody, then you have to think, how can I prove out this thing in a diverse set of use cases that are still extremely valuable for the N=1? So use case 2 was offer and pricing. So the job to be done was ACQI was an expert strategist, a co-pilot, to structure and refine core business offers, pricing, one of the strongest levers on profit, and guarantees to increase conversion and profitability. And so this was observed in, again, local businesses. So this is real examples: pool maintenance, landscaping, remodeling, B2B SaaS, e-commerce, coaching, consulting. So this is from the actual, this is from y'all. So residential remodeling contractor used to build a job pricing model to protect 37% gross margin against a client's budget cap. Commercial pool service designed a new irresistible offer with a guarantee and SLA, so service level agreements, for their website to attract property managers. Real estate photography business created tiered pricing structures to incentivize high volume agent partnership while maintaining 70% gross margins. Net margin, excuse me. A coaching business for faith-forward founders designed a full-service ladder from a workshop to a Grand Slam offer, sprint to a quarterly retainer. So that was the second kind of like types of stuff. So the first is all about like assets and sales and marketing stuff, collateral. The second is offer and pricing, so this is more strategy. And the third is basically pure CRO, so funnel and systems optimizer. So diagnosing, mapping, and prescribing fixes for the entire sales and marketing funnels to improve conversion rates and automate it. So this was observed in healthcare clinics, so med spas, men's health, coaching, consulting, B2B SaaS, done for you agencies. So examples from the data. So men's health clinic with large YouTube following built a lead magnet to setter call workflow to improve appointment booking rates. A systems implementation agency created a detailed SOP for their BAM-FAM meeting prep process across these three products, ClickUp, GHL, and Google Drive. A marketing agency for coaches analyzed a webinar script drop-off points and then restructured it to move the pitch earlier and interweave proof points. And a residential remodeling contractor designed a go-high-level workflow to automate lead intake, deal creation, and speed of lead follow-up from a website from submissions, right? And so that is how we take both the metrics angle of how do you know that the product is actually getting usage or is good to make sure that you have the conviction to promote it. One is you have the metrics that show that. And the second was the actual real use cases that people like in the real world are using. And so then number four, how do you translate that into knowledge? Sorry, those knowledge into outcomes. Again, I relate this because many of you guys are AI interested. And if you want to build a product that has AI in it or enabled in it, you need to have a data layer so that you can then create these inferences so that you can get these outcomes. And so this was, these are the kind of the real world impacts. So this is Jesse Dow. He joined the Scale Advisory. So the AI is fire. It would be $24,000 for that alone. Used it to reposition offers and pricing immediately, seeing massive results. Again, this isn't me saying that this would happen for you. It wasn't even available except for anything for the people who were live at the launch. But I'm just showing you this so that you can see how you go from concept all the way to banger idea that actually works. So this is Jason. He said, Alex AI is my go-to for everything business related. Chris Williams said, ACQ AI made me XXX in 4 hours. It's made me, I'm spending $18,000 to be this group, and I made, well, I won't make any claims there. Vishal, pleasantly surprised with it. I must say I was pleasantly surprised how good it was. Before asking it anything, I asked what all information needs about my business to serve me better. Then I used GPT, which already had a lot of knowledge about the company, to draft a 3 to 4 page summary about everything, ICP, deal size, MRR, government contracts, etc. I fed it all into ACQ AI and was able to draft an excellent offer for me. It was surprised at the price it quoted, way more than I would have, but I understand its reasoning, right? Here's Daniel. Dude, I know you're probably asleep after that effort, but the AI assistant's off its head, so good. Connor Kurtz, just wanted to say, my wife and I ran XX over the weekend after hosting a live launch. Couldn't have done it without the book content in ACQ AI. Maritza, this is so good. Love that we have Alex AI to help us do the truly uncomfortable. I've tried it. It's a great resource for cutting through the BS, gave me specific tasks in order, and even gave me a deadline. Chris, I started to view the AI like a mini Hormozi sitting in the corner of my desk. Hey, Alex, how can we improve this thing? It's awesome. I don't feel like I'm taking up too much of its time. This is Abram. So I'm giving you these so you can see the examples of like real. ACQ AI is so freaking cool. It actually spits out super helpful and practical advice too. Jacob, having spent time building my own Alex AI, I can say with confidence this is on an entirely different level. The sheer depth of its capabilities is beyond anything I imagined. A huge thank you to the team for creating an incredible tool. I couldn't agree more with Thad Wells. The AI is worth the dollars alone. Loving it so far, super helpful. I had breakfast with Alex AI this morning. It was amazing. Here's what Alex changed. He gave me a higher tier offer. What it included, recommended the core offer be a 12-month contract with commitment, no tire kickers, and then give a bunch more recommendations exactly what to do. The AI agent is outstanding. Delighted. It's amazing. Very good, great expectations, lots of things that it did. I could probably keep going here. You get the idea. So the reason the business owners prefer it is because we made 5 changes, and I'm bringing this up because whoever your avatar is, you have to build something that is for them, right? Not some like BS GPT like thing. Like if you actually, like we have a full dev team that's half the size of school's dev team at ACQ. We've been building this for 2 years. And I bring this up because great products take time. And so there's 5 main changes that we made to cater to business owners versus regular people. And so we trained our AI to communicate how I've learned is the most effective for business owners. So number 1 is context. So it has permanent and growing context layer that isn't inferred. It's added plus inferred. So it has both, right? So if you always feel like you have to like keep uploading stuff and say, hey, remember this is what I'm talking about, like all of that is permanent, a layer on top of all answers, and all answers are given within that growing context that is both inferred from what you say plus the manual and hard-coded layer. The second is that it disagrees. Like if think about it like this. If something always agrees with you, how much do you really trust its advice? Think about that for a second. Basically, every, I would say, mass available product that's out there, they seek agreement. And so let's literally code it into it. It seeks agreement and wants you to like it. And as a result, it tells you things that you want to hear rather than what is probably likely to be correct. And so we have geared this all towards what I would tell somebody, which means it says no if it thinks it's a dumb idea. It's fluff free, so I don't know about you guys, but I hate the like paragraphs and paragraphs of answers for like a simple yes, no. We eliminated a lot of that fluff. The next thing is questions before answer. So said differently. If you were to call me up and say, hey, Alex, what should I do with my business? My first thing back to you would not be an answer. It would be, tell me about the business, give me the size, give me more context. And if I have that, then I can actually give you a much better answer. Now, assume it already has context, it'll still ask even more questions, which is why the quality of the answer is so high. And then finally, the steps themselves are action steps. So answers only in things that people can do. So I talk about, like, all my books are always written purely from the perspective of what can you do about it? And so as a result, because it's purely trained on SMBs and has context to the business, it will always be entirely different from the GPT. So if you were to like take the same problem, put them in, it'd be an entirely different experience. And so fundamentally, this is the differentiator. This is what Amjad and I were talking about on that podcast, is like, what is the thing that you can create that is unique and different in terms of training that allows you to have a superior outcome? And so you will get outputs anywhere. Like, it's kind of like you could get free advice, business advice from your hairdresser. Getting an output does not make it high quality, right? What we're trying to win on is the narrow use case for SMBs, rather than have something that's trained on everything from therapy to relationships to erotica, right? We're trying to find something that, like, in the specific use case of tons of volume within this very narrow context of normal businesses, how can you maximize the likelihood that we get best next steps that have the highest likelihood impact of people hitting their goal? And so, obviously, I gave you all those kind of like screenshots to be like, it worked in the real world. But what about this drop-off, right? So this is something that I'm always paying attention to, which is like, if you have a product, you want to make sure that as many people as possible use it. So I'm telling you how we actually built this, right? And so the thinking idea is that obviously we didn't get full adoption from everyone. No product does. Now that flat curve is still a really good indication, though, that people are consistently using this on a regular basis. But I see that line there, the difference between those two lines, as a skill deficiency. So any new technology has an adoption curve, and just like the internet, some people use it well, other people use the internet mediocrely, and some people still use fax machines, right? And so it's not that the internet doesn't work, it's just that the difference between two users of the internet is skill. And so I would like to show you how to use it to grow your business so it can consistently give you the best next step to scaling, getting you from where you are to where you want to go. And this is the context through which we built this thing, right? And so if any of you are here and you're not using AI as much as you should, and you know you should, you likely are falling behind. Remember, like, he's referencing something that I did like 2.5 years ago. Like, the world is moving. And so I said, like, how did we build this thing? First is we started with what is the most valuable version of a product, which for the context of what we do in advisory practice, it had to be the best next step. Because if we can give someone the best next step, then that will get them where they want to go. Then, well, why doesn't everyone do that? Because it's incredibly hard, because you need to have context. And so in order to have context, we had to do 2 years of consulting work, me plus the team, $60+ million of consulting, where we track clear inputs and outputs so we could train an AI the way I explained on the podcast with Amjad. So we had reinforcement cycles that got the closest approximation of very high level consulting, but available to many more people. And so then from there, it's like, how do you know it actually works? How do you know it's turning that data into knowledge? Well, we have the metrics, right? And we have the use cases. So the metrics show that the usage is flat, obviously after the initial adoption curve, but then flat line after that. Basically, once someone is skilled enough, they continue to use it, which is amazing. And then you have, what are people using it for? Primarily creating assets, strategy around pricing and offer. And then finally, they're using it on kind of optimizations for sales motions, which makes sense if those are the top 3 use cases, given most businesses are domain constrained. And then finally, it's like, okay, how does that translate into the real world, right? And I give you a bunch of small, just little tidbits of people. Again, your results will vary. None of those were income claims, but everyone results, I literally showed. People, results vary. How does that translate into the real world? And so some of you guys missed the AI. And so I would like to show everyone here how to use ACQ AI, because I think it is the most valuable thing that you can have, which is the best next step for your business. And so if you missed it, I would like you to have the ability to buy it. So I will make it available for purchase for 36 hours only. The clock starts now if you want it. You can go to go.acq.com. It's $3,000 one time, and then it's $299 a month. You can cancel whenever you want. I'm very confident that you will like it. We've put a lot of resources into it, and we're continuing to. And this is a big point. Like, ACQ AI will be a core engine of the value creation of acquisition.com. My entire point is to compete at the highest levels by doing the work that other people won't do, and doing it in such a way that we capture that data so that an entire slice of the economy, like many business owners do not capture the correct data. We have gone through the painstaking effort of actually capturing that data, many times having to do that in person, over the phone, over Zoom, manually collecting the stuff so that we could train this to help many, many businesses. And obviously, once you get it, you'll have access to it instantly. So some of those examples that I gave, you could use like right now. And to be clear, AI, the reason there is a subscription on the back is that it's not like software. It has an actual hard cost. Like as usage increases, software doesn't really increase very much as more people use it. AI does, right? And you've probably heard about some of this with like the power usage and the power grid and things like that. That's because AI actually has hard costs. And this is also introductory pricing, so you guys will get that benefit just for acting now. I'm just opening up another cohort so I can get even more user metrics of like how can we make this thing even sexier, because we're going to continue to keep dropping more and more things, more updates as we continue to train it. And so if you've ever wanted everything I've ever done consulting-wise available and customized to your needs with complete context in real time, you can go to go.acq.com. Now, to show you how real this is in terms of like where AI is right now, this is actually a clip from our affiliate day with Tyler, who's an L3 client. So he's somebody who actually bought $135,000 a day with me, and this was the real thing. Pretty wild.
I'm a bit shocked that nobody's brought up your bot yet today, your AI. Just quick shout out. It's the best business product I've ever interacted with by.
Did you see the interview with Amjad?
Was that
Replit CEO?
I just started watching that the other day.
You can see what we actually put into it there.
Awesome. I'm gonna check that out. This might sound weird, but like I was really looking forward to this interview from like a tactics perspective. And now it felt completely irrelevant once I started to use the bot. So anyone who wishes they're up here asking you questions, if you have access to the bot, like you should be abusing it. Like it is amazing. Like truly. Does it feel weird to have created an intelligence that more or less replicates what you do? Like, I mean, I imagine it reduced your key man risk relatively significantly just because I would hope your team prompts it. I hope your portfolio companies prompt it. I mean, I prompted it on our biggest problem for the last like 18 months. And I'm like, I know exactly what to do. I know exactly the metrics. Like, I'm like,
you don't need me anymore.
I don't need you, dude. Like,
so I'll answer the question in the chat that I think a couple people asked. You'll see in a second. But for everybody who donated books at the launch, I have some special things. For one, you guys aren't paying a subscription at all. You got that. So if you would like to start paying a subscription, you're welcome to. Most of you probably don't want that. And you guys also got a bunch of other stuff, and there's some other things that I'm going to give you in a moment. So that being said, if you would like to hire me, and all the consultations that my team did on $60+ million in consulting for $3,000 one time and then $299 a month, which is less the cost of 2 days of minimum wage labor per month, you can go to go.acq.com. And this time, to shoot for 100% adoption, to help everybody out, for anyone who grabs the AI, I'm going to do a separate workshop on how to use our AI as a business owner. Okay? So this will be a virtual implementation workshop, just kind of pure on execution. And so to be clear, not all outputs are created equally. And so any model can give you words, right? Like it's very easy. You can get words anywhere. The question is, how much of a difference does better make in your business? Said differently, if you had the best salesperson versus a mediocre salesperson, how big of a difference is that? Huge. The same thing applies to copy, offer, pricing, et cetera. Right? And so these are just a few of the highlights that we'll cover at the AI workshop. And the main point here is that I want to cover this deficiency, right? This gap here. How can I get every person to use it, to keep using it because it's providing value, right? So number one, we're going to go through the scriptwriter and copy writer, since that is probably the number one use case that people are using it for right now, using all of the stuff that we teach internally that we don't have publicly, because that's what it's also trained on, to make things that convert significantly higher. The second is the offer architect, right? So how, like I talked about some of the bonuses, like some of you guys have seen the Cash Cows episodes when we like walk through offer creation. Well, imagine like thousands of those conversations already documented with the right results already done. So we'll walk you through how to maximize that and tweak all the angles of your offer to increase take rates and increase prices by association. The third is the kind of funnel analysis. Whatever your sales motion is, there are tiny tweaks that other people have already figured out in your space or industry that you get 10% here, 15% here, 20% here. Those things add up so quickly, and they are permanent increases in the business when you make the changes. And so those are the three kind of highest use cases, highest output things, and I want to make sure that I can show you exactly how to use the tools like a pro, rather than like someone who just uses it to like summarize documents and like research stuff. There's also going to be a fourth thing, which will be a little surprise, which is just my personal highest return use case of how I use it. Well, I don't know. Maybe the internet's not working.